In the heart of medieval England, beneath the shadow of crumbling abbeys and whispering woods, two children emerged from a wolf pit, their skin an unnatural shade of green, their language unknown, and their origin beyond explanation. Some called them fae, others swore they came from beneath the earth, but the truth, it vanished with time and left behind a mystery still unsolved after 800 years. The story begins in the 12th century, during a time of political unrest and near constant warfare. It was an era steeped in superstition where religion, folklore, and fear of the unknown ruled daily life. It was sometime during the reign of either King Stephen or King Henry II, the exact date lost to time, when two children were discovered near the edge of a field just outside Woolpit, a boy and a girl, young, alone. They appeared as if from nowhere, standing near one of the deep wolf pits that gave the village its name, traps once dug to capture the predators that roamed the area. The children seemed dazed, their expressions blank and confused. They wore clothing that no villager recognized, garments stitched from a strange material in a bizarre, foreign style. They spoke no known language. Their mannerisms were foreign, but it was their skin that struck the villagers most. It was green, not pale or jaundiced, green, vivid, as though their skin had been dyed with spring leaves or young peas. Eyewitnesses described the hue as unmistakable, unnatural, and unsettling. The villagers were stunned. Who were these children? Where had they come from? Were they cursed? Ill? Had they been touched by something not of this world? The children were taken into the village and offered food, but they refused all of it: bread, meat, fruit, even milk. They recoiled from every attempt to feed them until, almost by accident, someone placed a bowl of freshly picked green beans before them. At last, they ate, ravenously. It was the only food they would accept for days. Over time, their health improved. The green tint in their skin slowly faded, but tragedy soon followed. The boy, always frailer than his sister, grew sick and died. His name, if he ever had one, was never recorded. He became the first casualty of this mystery. The girl, however, survived. She adapted. She learned to speak English. She integrated into village life and would eventually be baptized and given the name Agnes. She grew into a woman, reportedly married a man from the nearby county of Norfolk, and lived out her life in the very land where she had once arrived like an alien. But when she was finally able to speak fluently, she revealed a story that only deepened the mystery. Agnes said she and her brother were from a place called St. Martin's Land, a strange realm perpetually cloaked in twilight. There was no sun, no bright sky, only a dim greenish haze that hung over everything. The people there, all of them, had green skin like she once had. They lived underground, separated from the surface world by a river of light so wide and blinding that it could barely be crossed. One day, while tending their father's flock, the two children heard the sound of distant bells, a sound they had never heard before. Entranced, they followed it through a cave, walking in darkness, until they emerged into a blinding world, Woolpit. They didn't know how they had gotten there, only that the sun was unbearable and everything around them was unfamiliar. No one in Woolpit had ever heard of such a place. No maps contained it. No chronicler knew of a land of eternal dusk beneath the earth. So what, if anything, were these children? Two primary sources from the time documented the tale. Ralph of Coggeshall, the abbot of a nearby Cistercian monastery, and William of Newburgh, a respected chronicler of English history. Both recorded the details with striking consistency, though neither claimed to fully understand what had happened. To this day, scholars, skeptics, and storytellers continue to debate the possibilities. One of the more grounded theories is that the children were Flemish refugees. At the time, a significant Flemish population had settled in eastern England, but tensions and violence had erupted in the region. Some believe the children were orphaned survivors who had fled their war-torn homeland and become lost in the woods, their strange language a Flemish dialect, their clothing foreign, their greenish skin a symptom of malnutrition or anemia. The so-called River of Light might have been the sudden exit from a dark forest or cave into the bright English countryside. But this doesn't quite explain everything. It doesn't explain the bell sounds, or the underground world, or why both children would fabricate the same exact story, one that aligned with no known beliefs, geography, or customs of the time. Then there are the folkloric explanations. In the centuries before and after this tale, England was rich with stories of fairy folk, changelings, and portals to other realms. In many traditions, especially Celtic ones, there were said to be entire civilizations that lived beneath the earth, in hollow hills and twilight kingdoms. In some versions, humans who wandered too far into these realms could return. Altered time moved differently. Light behaved strangely. Color was not as we perceive it. Perhaps Agnes and her brother were wanderers between worlds. There are even more fringe ideas, theories that cross into science fiction. Some believe the children were interdimensional travelers, that the Earth exists not alone, but among layers of parallel realities, and that sometimes, rarely, those layers grow thin. A slip in reality, a quantum overlap. And through it, two children emerged into our world, unable to return. Others have even argued the extraterrestrial angle, that they were not from a parallel Earth at all, but from another planet. That their subterranean homeland, the unfamiliar clothing, the odd language, and the green skin all suggest alien origin. That the cave was a vessel, the bells a vibration, the river of light a distortion during transport. It sounds far-fetched. It is far-fetched. And yet, the facts remain. Two children appeared out of nowhere, speaking no known tongue, dressed in alien fashion, skin green as spring peas, and when they learned to speak, they told of a world that doesn't, and perhaps can't, exist. Today, Woolpit has embraced its legend. There are signs and plaques. The village's name is forever tied to the tale, and still, the mystery lives on, not because it's provable, but because it isn't, because it resists explanation, because it forces us to confront the limits of what we think is real. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the Green Children weren't just a story about two lost kids, but a metaphor for how little we truly understand about the nature of our world. A reminder that wonder and terror often wear the same face. That mystery is not always meant to be solved. Sometimes it's meant to be felt. So the next time you walk alone in the woods, or past the mouth of a dark cave, or hear a sound that seems to come from nowhere at all, ask yourself, what lies just beneath the surface of what we call reality? What waits in the places we can't map? And what would you do if two green-skinned children stepped out of the shadows and asked for help? Would you believe them? Would you listen? Would you turn away or lean in closer? If you made it this far, let us know what you think. Was the story of the Green Children a misunderstood historical event, a folktale woven from fear and imagination, or something much more unreal? Drop your theories in the comments. Be sure to like this video if it sparked your curiosity. Subscribe to the channel for more chilling and bizarre true stories. And share this with someone who loves the unknown as much as you do. Because here at Really Unreal, we don't just tell strange stories. We ask the questions no one else dares to ask.